Ukusu, Peace, Black Power, and welcome to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School is a black nationalist, Pan-African community organization based in Harlem. We provide relevant and credible political education to help black people wake up, clean up, and stand up, in the words of Brother Malcolm X. To do this, we provide panel discussions, political commentary, mini documentaries, leadership tips, classes, and interviews with some of our most dedicated and effective leaders, activists, and intellectuals around the world. The concept of Ukusu is very important to us and central to our mission. It is our greeting, our motto, and our guiding philosophy. Ukusu is an acronym for the phrase,
Wake up, clean up, stand up.
Wake up means developing black nationalist and Pan-African consciousness. Clean up tells us to identify and eliminate our self-defeating behavior that gets in the way of us being our highest selves. Stand up compels us to use our gifts and our resources to exert leadership in our communities to help liberate our people. We humbly ask you to subscribe to our channel so we can reach more people. We encourage you to like, share, and comment on our videos, and we invite you to donate to our work either through sending us a super chat here on YouTube or by sending donations through Cash App to $TRUSELF143. Now, let's build. Peace and Black Power families. Brother Ajay Taimba from Harlem Liberation School. We teach black people to wake up, clean up, and stand up, in the words of Brother Malcolm X. We are really fortunate to be in the midst of a wonderful season for Harlem Liberation School. We have a community empowerment series in which we are honoring, saluting, and sort of highlighting sisters, black women, new African women in the community who are really doing wonderful work on our behalf. Often when we work for our people, sometimes it is a thankless sort of proposition. You don't necessarily have a lot of people sending you thank you cards and big gifts. And sometimes you don't see the fruit of your work until decades later. And we wanted to honor sisters while they are walking this earth right now. People, we can go on their websites, call them up, email them, and see the work they're doing so that we don't just honor our ancestors, we also honor those among us that are doing wonderful work so that we may emulate them and learn from their example. We also doing it because we want to combat what seems to be a negative trend and a growing trend of scapegoating black women for everything going wrong in our community. We don't support that. We want to show the other side, sisters that are holding our families down, raising our children up, providing sacrificing in many cases, wearing a multiple hats, many times lacking the resources and yet still doing wonderful work, pouring love and service into our community. So that's the spirit of this particular series. We've had some phenomenal sisters on already. We have a few more to go, including my queen, Sister Brenda. Today, we are really, really honored and happy to have a almost like a queen mother. She may not have got the official ceremonial title in Ghana, but really a beloved sister in our community, an elder that is, you won't hear anyone say anything negative about. To everyone, she's beloved, highly respected and honored, and she earned that through decades of work. She's not new to this, she's true to this. And we want to salute her, and the way we're doing it is by highlighting her in this live interview to learn more about our queen mother. You know, how did she become who she is? Who influenced her? More about her service, how she got into the road of consciousness, more about her organizations. So we're really happy to bring on Mama Yaa Baruti to Harlem Liberation School stage, and she's no newcomer. She's been here 3 or 4 times. Peace, Mama Yaa.
Peace, Baba. How are you?
I am well. I am happy to be interviewing you, to have you on again. We want to expose our people to our shining stars and our hard workers and our institution builders as much as possible. So thank you for sharing time with us. I'm going to put a few things on the screen so that people know, who we are.
And Baba, just a quick FYI.
Say again.
Just a quick FYI, you're lagging. So and I don't have any other apps open on my computer, but so if it takes me a minute to start responding to your question, I may still be hearing it because I hear you,
Okay.
but there are lags.
Okay. Yeah, that's this crazy Wi-Fi, these gadgets, man. Technology is never 100%. So thank you for telling me. I'll make sure that I pause
I
too.
okay.
Definitely.
But I definitely know
All right.
it's wonderful when it's cooperating, but it's also a pain in the neck.
All right, fam. We got something on there that's tell you a little about our community empowerment series. I want to get right into it. We're hoping that we do maybe 40, 45 minutes interview and maybe leave 15 minutes for our community, our village to ask some questions, to make it a more inclusive discussion, rather than just me asking the questions. We would really love that type of dynamic. I'm also going to have
Okay.
some things scrolling on the bottom. Make sure you're looking at the bottom ticker. It will have things like how you get your books and lectures from the Barutis. We want to give a shout out to MWALIMU Baruti in the building. We know he's probably watching somewhere. And we want to, support their products and buy their products and watch their lectures so we can learn. It's not just happening here. They've been doing stuff for years, family. So if you don't catch it here, they had websites and books and lectures on YouTube you can check out. But let's get right into it. You know, we realize, Mama Yaa, that people don't just come out of a vacuum. People don't just wake up one day and they have a mission. People usually go through things. They're shaped by people, where they come up. So I was wondering if you could share with us where you grew up and some of those role models or key experiences that kind of helped you develop an appreciation for what it means to be an African empowered Black person and to serve our community. Who shaped that, and what experiences kind of shaped you early on?
Well, Baba, I grew up in a small town in Mississippi, my mother's hometown, and more specifically on my grandparents' farm.
Hmm.
And it was my mother and her children, as well as aunts and uncles. We had a great aunt also, but it was, in my mind, it was a version of an African village. So we were very well. We saw each other daily, worked together, but um, the important things I learned. So that was just a great experience. So I think that was preparing me to embrace the African way. But even though that wasn't expressly, taught from my mom, aunts, uncles, and grandparents, but what was expressly taught was who Europeans were. So it was made very clear that they were low down and dirty and they could not be trusted. So I had a clarity from a child that these people, even though I don't remember anyone saying the word enemy, but that was clear to me. And there was a distinct love for family. So we're very close. My family's very close, but also that love, it wasn't limited to just our family. It was a love for Black people. So I think those were definitely major ingredients that, were formative and helped me along my journey.
Thank you for that. Also, we wanted to know, because we know that you and Baba are very much involved in the African centered education movement, having Akoben Institute, which we'll get into a little bit more later. But I wanted to know, as you see it, what role does an African centered education play in our personal and collective liberation?
Okay. Um, Definitely, I see that as it playing a pivotal role. And even though we are physically free on paper, but we're mentally enslaved generally as a people, and unfortunately throughout the world. And an African centered education points us to the motherland, and it gives us the clarity that we need. Because if our minds aren't free, we're following whatever narrative, whatever perversion is the flavor, whatever European characteristic is being promoted. We're just sheep being led to the slaughter. So, in general, education, which is beyond the schooling, but the schooling and all the things that we learn that prepare us for adulthood, African centered education provides a pathway for us to free our minds so that we're able to um, work toward a sovereign African nation, which we, of course, sorely need. Because without that, all the work that we're doing, if we never achieve sovereignty, will be very limited in the results that we're seeking.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And speaking of now of education or African centered education, could you tell us about Akoben Institute and the impact you wanted it to have when you first were conceiving of it, and the impact that you see that it has had now, looking over what, 24, 25 years, right?
25. Yeah, we just completed our 25th school year. So, yes, 25 years.
Wow.
Uh, uh, so, Bob, Akoben Institute really started as us making a decision. We wanted and needed an African centered high school for our daughter. There wasn't one in our vicinity. So, we chose to homeschool our daughter to make sure that she would receive that. And although previously we had talked about, someday it would be nice. We have $1 million. We can do an African centered school, about building, staffing, and all of that. But it did not occur that way. But however, it did fall in our laps because other parents who were interested in an African centered school, uh, say it started with two, then a third, say a few of those parents, our daughter had gone to another African centered school uh, that initially had a high school component, but they closed it because of low enrollment. So those parents asked when they found out we were homeschooling to bring if we would also teach their children. And we said yes, which would be great because our daughter would have classmates. And so it didn't start off with this is going to be a school, but during that first academic year, we quickly realized, and the ancestors were working to make this happen because Baruti was on a leave of absence from Morehouse, so he was going to be home 5 days a week. I was still teaching on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at Morehouse, but everything fell into place for this school. But even the choice of the name of the school, Akoben is one of the Adinkra symbols from West Africa, and it's the war horn. And we chose that symbol because we felt a need to fight on behalf of our children. Because regardless of how well some of our children were being schooled, and that's what the public and private schools provided, even if they were predominantly Black, they were not being truly educated, meaning being prepared for life. And part of, as an African, being prepared for life, you need to know your story, your culture, and have clarity about being in a state of oppression, which of course is not taught in public and private schools. So our desire was to provide this. We provide an excellent academic foundation, which is the main goal of many parents, but equally important was that we teach our students about our history, as we say, our story and our culture, We wanted them to have critical thinking skills because it's impossible to teach anyone every single thing that they will need to learn. But if you have good critical thinking skills, you're able to think for yourselves. When you see whatever madness is going on, and having some clarity of who you are, who we are as African people. We wanted them to learn practical life skills. We had a garden for a number of years, and that's basic, being able to feed yourselves, but also real world skills whenever Baba was doing a renovation project, because they were literally in our home. So they got to learn whatever he's changing locks, fixing something in the plumbing, putting down bricks, whatever the students benefited from, as well as building, making some small wooden projects themselves. But being of good character was major. So we spent a lot of time with African proverbs, which also helped with the critical thinking. But teaching about manhood and womanhood, because that's what an education should prepare you for. And you don't become that strictly based upon you turn 18, 21, or any other age. And definitely a focus on African sovereignty, because nothing is important if we never have, well, it's of limited importance if we remain oppressed. So letting them know the ultimate goal is African sovereignty, and that each of those students, along with us, not just the adults who are working, you're receiving an African-centered education is helping to prepare you. That's your work at this age, working on behalf of African sovereignty and being clear, having a notion of what that means, what that looks like. So that's what we strived for. But I also want to say that what went hand in hand with Akoben Institute, which was the homeschool, was Akoben House, which is our self-publishing company. So not only was the focus on teaching the children through Baba's books, and I think he's at least 33. We can't even keep up anymore with his books. And then from that, the lectures and courses that we taught for adults as well. So it is even larger than Akoben Institute. That with the books, we had impact, excuse me, nationally, internationally.
I really want to give thanks for the way that you include the character. The public school education absolutely has no character building. I mean, a few schools are trying to be take vanguard positions, be pioneers, and they'll have a few little after school things and they'll include it. But character is certainly not in the forefront of public school education. And I went to some Catholic schools growing up, and they were not particularly strong with character education. They were strong with religiosity, but not real character. And it seems like, it's not enough, as I'm sure you would agree, to know all we need to know about nationalism, Pan-Africanism, and we're like really rotten people. Right? So the character piece
absolutely
very important.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right. So I appreciate that you baked that right into the recipe. That's very important. Now,
absolutely.
You mentioned that you teach things to adults as well. One of them is certainly, I know Baba talks a lot about our manhood. I think I just got his book Asafo that talks specifically about what do we mean as warriors to be men. And you have spoken and written about African womanhood. Could you, for those who have not heard you speak about that, could you help us understand how you describe what qualities or characteristics comprise an African woman or African womanhood?
Yes, Bob. And I have not written about it. I've taught courses, I've done lectures, taught a course on African womanhood. So I haven't written, although I do have lots of notes waiting to be put into book format, which is the plan. But
Okay.
Baba, I specifically took notes uh, because I want to give some sources. And even in my course that I taught on African womanhood, I immediately looked to two of our elders. And so my definition, I formed my definition based upon Mama, mainly Mama Marimba Ani's. Of course, let me just say, my mother, grandmother, aunts were
Mm-hmm.
definitely models, but I didn't have a definition in my mind. But Mama Marimba has an essay entitled To Be an African Woman. And that essay is found in a book that she's one of the editors, uh, entitled. It is a long title, and Baba, we're doing renovations, so I couldn't get to the book. But the main title is To Be African. So if you Google, and it's something essays in Sankofa, something to
Mm-hmm.
that effect. But she's one of the three editors on the book, so it is available. It's back in print, and I definitely suggest. Uh, well, that book, it wouldn't be limited to sisters. That's just one essay in the book, but the whole notion of what it means to be African is addressed in that book. So I think every uh, African, someone who is embracing the African way, that's a book you need for your library. But I'm going to give you her list of characteristics. But before I do that, I also wanted to mention a few other books that sisters who are interested in knowing more about African womanhood that I definitely would recommend. And one of them is Africana, and just a spelling note, in Mama Marimba's book, African is spelled with a K. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also recommending another elder, Mama Clenora Hudson Weems,
Yes,
who has
yes.
a book titled Africana. Oh, great, you know her, Baba. Africana Womanism, and that is spelled with a C. And
Mm-hmm.
I won't stop with the title because I have a couple other books. So those books are from my elders. In more recent years, a couple of my community daughters, and a wonderful thing about being in the village. So you have all these daughters. Brother Brudy and I only birthed one child, our daughter, but we have a number of community daughters and sons all over the place. Two
Mm-hmm.
of them, and Bobby, you probably familiar with the Pan African Liberation Movement. So, Sister Ife Asada Fatiu has a couple of books. The first one, Wake Up and Rise Up Sisters, and it's Wurus, Wurus, as a way to remember that, a book on African womanhood. So it's nice for the younger women who have looked at this topic. And last year, she published a book. Uh, Let me get it right, because Makeru, Maakheru, subtitle A Black Woman's Code of Conduct, which I haven't had a chance to read yet, but I definitely glanced through it, and I know this sister as well, so I'm very comfortable recommending it. As well as another sister, part of PLM, Ngina Fatu, and it probably, you, if you don't remember the name, it's easier to remember the name of the book, African, and it's with a K, Womanhood in the 21st Century.
Mm.
So we have some materials out here available. And this is something I've been saying for years. This is before uh, the Trump's latest. rendition of European insanity, that it's important for us to, if there are books that we want in our library, we need to get them. Whether, because sometimes people say, oh, I have too many books and I haven't read a lot of them, I'm going to wait till I read them. You may not have access to books because you see, with the censorship and all things of people of color being shut down left and right. So our ability to get the books, it would be helpful to at least have them in our homes, but also, we can't trust the devil. So to the extent that you can read them, because what you have read can't be taken from you. Your physical books can be, but also this program and all the different lectures and programs and podcasts, we have lots of information available. To the extent we're able to be taking that information in, because you may not have access. They can immediately, it's been done where the internet was shut down in Libya, in Egypt, several years ago. That's a simple thing to do. But also, all libraries closed. Not that a lot of our books, African centered books, are found in those libraries anyway, but that's
Mm-hmm.
really important. Okay. But let me get to Mama Marimba's characteristics of African womanhood. She says to be an African woman is to be life affirming, in partnership with an African man, not just a man. She specifically says an African man, to be a political organizer, to be part of a collective. That's the Euro thing. You as the individual, and you want to go and be on a deserted island away from everybody, to exert influence. And that's very much them. Even now, they want a cabin in the woods where nobody else is around. Uh, to speak for the ancestors, in order, because that's how the ancestors speak through us, but we have to study our ancestors to be able to
That's right.
speak for them. To be an advocate of Africa, we need to be knowledgeable what's going on and work on behalf of Africa, being clear about Asians over there. No, they're not doing us any favors, so that the enemies are not just European. Is to be a mother who does whatever is necessary to protect her child. And that has been, prior to the crack epidemic in this country, that was synonymous with Black women. Our children were the priority. But now, even when women are on crack, many of them are buying into all the focus is on themselves and my career and what I want out of life. And children are not necessarily the priority, even having them. But even when they have them, okay, that's what the nanny is for. But anyway, to be an African woman is to teach, to be a healer, and that's physically, mentally, spiritually, to represent the continuity of African people. So we need to know who we were and to continue that tradition, to represent the stability of the African family, to maintain and pass on African culture. We have to know it to be able to maintain it and pass it on, to organize and direct the African market, to be a scientist of the sacred. We have to be knowledgeable of that which is sacred and spiritual that we need to teach our children about, to be a spiritual leader, to be intellectual. And she closed that list with to be divine. So that's what the elder has spoken. So this is
Mm.
what, we have a list to aspire to, Baba.
Yes, indeed. We thank you for that. And uh, um, Queen Mother, remember our knee goes back. I remember as a young man in Harlem, they had First World Alliance was like a 5 minute walk from my house. So I would go every Saturday. And I
Mm,
do believe I remember hearing her speak. She was then known by her government name, Donna Richards.
yes.
John Howard Clark
Yes.
would be there, Amos Wilson, just some beautiful Africans with elders, scholars, activists. And so I give thanks for her. She has never strayed the course. And she's been a remarkable role model for us.
Absolutely.
Remarkable. Yeah. She stayed the
Absolutely, Baba.
course.
And
So we thank you for
how
relaying those
wonderful
those
for you.
qualities. Say again.
Yes, and how wonderful you lived nearby, and you were one of many who sat at the feet of these African scholars. So how fortunate, and we're seeing the fruit of that your labor having learned. So you were, those seeds were implanted in you, and we see, you're continuing them as it should be. So we give thanks for you
Yes,
and all of
definitely give
those
thanks.
young people and who learned from, our scholars.
Yes, indeed. We definitely give thanks for our scholars living and deceased, at least in this dimension, for sure. Now,
Absolutely.
now I know that the road of liberation is not easy. The road of educating our people is not easy. I mean, we could all talk about that for years about the challenges, but I do want people to have an accurate understanding of your particular journey, that it wasn't all everything was perfect and laid out for you and you was getting $8 million loans from the community. You had to work, right? So people think they see you now and they don't understand Mama Yaa had to put work in. Mama Yaa was disappointed sometimes. Mama Yaa was trying to say, well, where's the fruit of my, what's going on? I'm doing all this work, what's going on? And I was hoping that you could speak to, over your years involved in our liberation struggle, what have been some of your most rewarding and challenging moments in your work serving the Black community? Those things you feel fit to talk about.
Okay, and Baba, I'll look at them broadly. Um, Definitely because we made a school in our home and we didn't have a basement, we didn't have a garage, it wasn't separate.
Mm,
So our living room, our personal space. So that was a major challenge over the years. And initially, when we started the school, we did not have a guest bathroom, and we had mostly male students. And
mm,
that was not, we did not want or need them in our personal bathroom, but challenge village. Three community mamas said, oh, this is unacceptable, and they helped us. They contributed to us um, getting a guest bathroom so that the students wouldn't be using our personal bathroom. Our home not being our home, it
mm,
was a school. So, of course, we had rooms. Our bedroom and certain rooms the children were, didn't have access to, but your home is not your home when it's a school. And then at the same time, um, because we were doing the self-publishing, and the books started when the school started. So in those days, we would be buying hundreds of books at a time to get the unit price down. So our home, between the school and the books that we got to sell, a lot of our personal space. It doesn't end with the school, and especially for me as the administrator. So parents, I'm needing to, the school day has ended, and I'm still talking to parents, and of course your teachers, so you're grading papers. So it's, your whole day is, it's really no separation from the work, and you having a personal life. But give thanks for Brother Baruti. He was like, oh no, we got to establish some boundaries, at least for him. Okay, I don't want, if it's past 6 o'clock, the students are gone. I don't want to discuss anything about a student or hear anything until, and we give thanks because we mamas, we all concerned. They're gone. The students are partying. Everybody's having fun, and stressed out and all of that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway, so
yeah.
those have been your challenges. But also
Wow. So,
finances and what happens to a lot of
mm,
nation builders. So we were focused on the work. Go ahead, Baba.
no, please
You were
continue.
about
I'm
to say
sorry.
something?
No, please continue.
The like many nation builders, your eyes on the prize. This nation building work, and the nation building work was not, in and of itself did not pay the bills. So Baruti's working hard writing books to help pay the bills, but the village definitely has been supportive every step of the way, because without all components, we wouldn't be around 25 years. But that's
Mm.
major, and especially it becomes clear to you as you get older. So we're looking around, our peers, our relatives are retiring, with pensions and all of this, and we did not do that track, even though I think it's possible to be a nation builder and have the finances in order, but we didn't do that. So that was major challenge. And even not being more balanced, let the nation building work is just all encompassing, and you don't pay enough attention to your health. So, and as you get older, even just living in the West, even if you do everything right, you're bound to have a majority of elderly people will have issues just from all of those decades of toxins and, the stress of oppression and all of that. But it's even more so when you don't do the things that you can do, like more exercise and all of those things. But so
Yeah,
those have been challenges, rewards. So they go hand in hand. As I said, even um, financially, we were able to do it. So to feel you have been called to do a work, which we do feel we have, but without the support of the village, we would not have been able. So people have, financially donated, bought books, brought children here, recommended parents bring. So they were, the village has done everything. Certain members of the village, the ones who most support us, have made it okay. We're going to do or made individual
yeah,
commitments to do everything that they could to assist us. And I know there have been times when he or I had health issues, like even recently, I've been dealing with some health issues. The village mamas came up with a meal train. So they're bringing this healthy food, and then it wasn't broadcast out, this meal train. But when people heard, some villagers heard, oh, you're having issue, and some of the people in the audience today, oh, uh, what can we do? And I said, well, the mamas have a meal train, and in that meal train, people can actually bring meals, or you can make a donation for, because healthy eating, and if you're sick, not having to cook and clean up after cooking, all of that. But anyway, definitely, Baba has had some health issues. The village was right there. So beautiful moments when Baruti published his book, Kebuka, which is looking at the Middle Passage. He literally couldn't walk for 3 weeks. He was literally
wow.
on his knees in pain. I don't remember. He went to the ER multiple times, and they, getting some the serious painkillers that they won't normally give you, like the oxycodone, whatever, out of the classroom for 3 months. But we had three different doctors in the village coming, a nurse coming from South Carolina, people taking. I don't drive, so we had people taking us. He had appointments, people bringing food, money,
Mm,
all of this. So some
that's
of
beautiful.
those most
Yeah,
rewarding when we've needed the village, they have come through and they've been there for us. So, it's been a combination, but I tell you, the rewards just of having a village is such a beautiful thing. Even on joyous occasions, I remember our daughter and her husband had twins, so our daughter did all her babies' home births. As it turned out, the midwife did not hear a second heartbeat. But anyway, so it's a big surprise. And Baba, it was like everybody was just this joyful. Gifts were stroll, everything that they needed, food. donations, just all of the joys and the rewards of, being loved, supported, and honored, by your village. So it has been extremely rewarding.
That's a
And I see
beautiful
Green is
testimony.
so
It's a beautiful testimony. Yeah.
it's been beautiful. It's been a beautiful experience for sure.
Now, I also think that sometimes people don't appreciate the that those of us who are activists, organizers, leaders, frontline warriors are multidimensional. We're not cardboard copies. We're not, two-dimensional. We have lives that encompass a lot of different areas. Could you help people appreciate your depth by helping them understand the various hats that you have worn, the various roles that you play in a given day or week or throughout your involvement in our liberation movement, so they can understand just how complex of a person you are. Not you don't just do this; you do a number of things just to help people understand as we honor you.
Oh, well, give thanks, Bob, and which I humbly give thanks. You don't do things to be on. That was never on my list, my wish list or goals in life to be honored. But it's so a blessing and a humbling experience to be honored. But of course, I'm a wife, which for those of us who are married, marriage is a full-time job. I'm a mother. Our daughter was not grown when we started the program. So I was a mother of a teen. But then, of course, and I was going to say, actually, our nation building work began 10 years prior to Akoben Institute because we taught at Morehouse for 10 years. And that was nation building work. We're still teaching our children who were technically, grown, but with Baruti's books. So he has devoted the time to write those books. I have edited the majority of those books. And we still, we have our biological families that we love and we have to allot time for, but as well as being a community mama, that ends up taking a lot of time, but time I'm happy to give. But that has become in part coaching. But prior to us, that's not the only way that we assist people in the village. But that was brought to us, and we were given a spiritual message. That's something that we should do. But spending and me, unlike Baba is not a phone person, but being a phone person, using that to be able to offer guidance to people in the village, mostly women, but also brothers, because generally the brothers are, want to talk to Baba, which, as it should be. But with that, the community mama, if somebody's sick, we want to be on there. We want to participate in the meal trains of others when babies are being born. I recently attended a naming ceremony, and of course, we want to send something. But all of just being a community mama, if we weren't doing any other, that's a full time job. That somebody's sick, you checking in, somebody's having marital problems. Community mama is a major job that I
Yes,
do.
indeed. Yes, indeed. And those of you watching, just to take a quick pause from the interview, we have Ina Ya Baruti. I call her Mama Ya. Ina, could you explain what ENA means? Is that a title of
Yes,
distinction?
it's a title in Tree, and it just means mother.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you can say Mama Ya, either way, you're honoring me as a mother. So both, either is fine. In the same way that the Yoruba say Iya,
Yes.
IYA for mother. So NI is tree, which, is West Africa, Ghana, one of the
Yes.
countries, where tree is spoken.
Yes. So for
and
those who
something
watching, we're
I
honoring
learned
Mama
because when
Yaa.
we had,
Yes, we're honoring Mama Yaa, who's put in decades of work. And I think longevity needs to be credited because a lot of people start and they go off the path. I in my struggle, I've seen a lot of people, Mama Yaa, that was real strong, real hardcore, bringing it, disappeared. But to
that's
stay on the
true, Baba.
course for a number for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years says a lot about the person. It says that they have the ability and the willingness to commit their time. And that means before people were clapping, giving titles of
Mhm.
distinction to Mama Yaa, sending donations, buying Baba Baruti's books, before all that, they was putting in the work. When it wasn't as popular or in vogue in our community. So that says a lot. So I want to personally, and as an organization, as Harlem Liberation School, myself and Queen Brenda definitely agree that you all deserve to be not put on a pedestal in a kind of a Eurocentric, you're better than people way, but
Right.
as a shining example of what we can be when we operate at the highest level. You know, we do need models to look at. So we definitely want to honor you for that. And I'm curious to know, kind of in line with what I
But
just
Barbara,
said.
can I say something? Can I say
Yes,
something
please.
briefly
Please.
relative to that? I honor my husband, Brother Baruti, because to be honest, I'm from a very religious Christian family. So we had a love of Black people, but my finding and pursuing the African way is not readily embraced. And
Mm,
it has been brother being able to do it. If I were a single person and I learned of it, I would have been embracing it mentally. But to be able to embrace being African wholeheartedly, because and this started, with us in our 20s in grad school beginning to read. So I don't think I would have had the courage solo, but so, and even being honored in the community, he was the first person who, whenever he did lectures, honored me. But definitely um walking hand in hand with him has given me the courage. So at this point in my life, well, I'm 63 years old. At this point, I have the courage. I have chosen, but as a younger person, when I was initially finding, or had been married to somebody else, my path could have. I still would have been that person who loved Black people because I loved that from my family, and I would have been
mm,
doing something, to help our people. But in terms of the African path, I definitely credit him. So definitely, give thanks. And nobody accomplishes anything. So not only credit him, but the village support. Because even in terms of our marriage, it was the village. Because, when you're in the marriage, I'm like, I knew the blessings. I was thankful for the blessings, but I spent a lot of time, woo, this marriage thing, is not for the weak. But it was the village who told us, oh, you're a model. And, we don't. So, a lot of people, I didn't grow up with my father in the home, but seeing a model. So definitely the village has whatever status I may have, it definitely, in all achievements, we know as African people, no one achieves anything in isolation. It is a family and village effort. So I definitely wanted to just say that, Baba.
well, we thank you also for your humility. Humility gets a bad rep these days. People take it as you're weak. I take it more as it's the opposite of arrogance. Humility is the opposite of arrogance. You recognize you're not the only star in the galaxy. That there's something greater than you, and that you can see beauty in other people. And I think you both also demonstrate that. And we want to thank you for that as well. Now, that being said, what what advice, guidance, message will you offer to our younger generations of sisters and brothers who are find themselves walking in your footsteps in the sense that they're getting involved with nation building and community work today? What general advice or messaging would you give them?
Okay, I would definitely talk to them about the importance of individual healing. So we know we need healing as a people. We need intergenerational healing in our families. We found out that it can even be seen, the trauma is even seen in the DNA of African people. So the healing that we all need. And as we heal, I'll remind young people or whatever age that according to our traditions, marriage and children are expectations, of you to do that. And so, because I see, for example, some brothers who are very serious, they're serious nation builders, but they're not necessarily concerned about marriage. They see that as the work. And for anyone, man or woman, if you're focusing on nation building work, but you're not focused on building families, nation building work for what nation? We will not have a nation if we don't continue to get married and have children's. We're the foundation of a nation. So I would definitely point out to them marriage and children. That's nation building work. It's revolutionary nation building work, which is a priority. And based on the challenges we have, so things I said we didn't have enough balance. So do the nation building work, but the nation building should not take priority over your family. Now, in a moment where bullets are flying and okay, we're in that space, then everybody's just, we're physically fighting. But in the nation building stage that we're in now, your family is the priority. And oftentimes the family is put on the back burner, paying attention to your health, because how much work you can do on behalf of the nation will be limited by your health. If you lose your health, you will not be able to do any nation building work. All your effort and energy will be put on trying to heal, just trying to get through each day. The importance of buying land. Um, the one thing that's can't be replicated, and you can't have a nation without land. And our sovereign nation could be decades, centuries, we don't know in the future, but in the time being, think about the Quilombos having a space to be on some land, and like the Quilombos, to the extent possible, being separating yourself from the insanity that we're surrounded around is helpful. Those who have children, planning children, the importance of rearing your children in the African way. And it's going to take all of that to try to save them from the insanity of this society that they're being born into, which, similar societies in places where we're colonizing other places in the world as well. I already said building your libraries. I was saying that statement, I repeat, learning as much as we can and having our resources, because it's clear we can't depend on others. And in fact, not only we can't depend on them, others are working actively to take away any piece of knowledge we might have of ourselves. And of course, people without knowledge of self, you're lost, you don't have roots. So I would reiterate that point, Baba.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that. Thank you for that.
And
Um,
lastly,
mhm.
one last point, Baba. Just clarity, being clear. There are many books I have not had, classics that I should have read. I have not read, but I have a sense of clarity. And there are many people who've read the books, say a John Lewis Gates. Henry Louis Gates. Knowledge without clarity is meaningless, but being very clear having a clear knowledge of who we were traditionally before enslavement, before colonialism, and being clear on enemies that may be European, Asian, they could be black if they're actively, Clarence Thomas, actively working against our people, but having a sense of clarity because there are going to be times you won't be able to talk to and get the wisdom from others. You got to have a sense of clarity for yourself. So when whatever insanity comes up, you're clear. Oh, okay. Yes, I don't have time. That's Euro insanity instead of being, sheep being led to the slaughter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that as well. Um, as we come to the close, I'm going to ask people if you have any questions. You have to let that be known by posting them so I can see them and bring them to Mama Yaa's attention. But the last formal question I have in our interview, at least, is this. And we end every interview in this community empowerment series, Mama Yaa. All the sisters we had on, we asked this question last. You're doing all this work, you've made sacrifice, you've studied, you've done all these things. What is the primary impact? What is the legacy that Mama Yaa Baruti wants to leave? What is the major impact that you seek to have on our people?
Okay, Baba, it's really simple. I would like to be remembered as a strong African woman who loved my family, my village, and African people out the world.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's clear. That's definitely straight to the point. That's clear. Speaking of the clarity you spoke of, that's very clear. Absolutely.
Very
Absolutely.
simple.
As we've been kind of chatting it up, Mama Yaa, we've had a number of people in the chat that have been kind of saying different things and giving you the greetings and talking to the rest of the family. And we don't want to shout out Sister Mila, also Brother Moon. He's not in the particular chat, but we want to shout both of them out. Want to shout out who we got? We got Crystal Denise is in the building. We had her on as one of our honorees. We had Sister Sheila in the building. Want to give thanks for her joining us. And we also have
Yes.
my lovely queen, Sister Brenda, who is
Yeah.
always right now. She's doing 18 different things at once as she's watching the show and she's watching the broadcast. Right. So yeah, we want to thank all of you for joining. We want to thank those of you who did not make any public comment, but you're checking it out. And we want to thank in advance those of you who watch the recorded version after all we're done live. And I want to just make once again ask: are there any more questions? Any more questions for Mama Yaa? Sister Christy Denise says, "Thank you for all you do." Queen Brenda says she wants to say thank you as well. So a lot of people giving thanks to you, Mama Yaa, as they should. We want to honor you. We want you to get
We
these
give
African
thanks.
flowers, this African garden while you are here. We don't want to be talking about it 100 years from now. We want to say right while you're here to hear it. We want you to know that we appreciate all that you do. Somebody else has said, "Greetings, Mama Yaa. Well done, Ashe." We really appreciate it. We really appreciate all the work, the struggle, the
I give
sacrifice.
thanks.
Yes. Mama Yaa, I know you had some slides you want us to go through. Did you want me to put them up now? Because I can put hold on one second.
So, Baba, could you show my slides
You got
as
it.
we're ending?
You got it. I'm going to put up slide 1 right now. Let me, okay, let me get rid of these things scrolling so there's more room to see it. All right, Mama Yaa, there you go. Can you see it?
Okay, give thanks, Baba.
Okay. So we have this is really a smart idea. I was sharing with Mama Yaa earlier. Were you gonna go through it, Mama Yaa?
Just, Baba and I offer coaching. So we coach couples, individuals. Um, announce that. And the next slide,
Excellent. Okay, give me
I think,
one
is
second. The
about
computer's
our.
lagging a little bit, but I'll be right with you. I'm gonna take that one down,
Okay, yes.
and I'll get this next one. So everyone, right now, Mama Yaa is going through some important information they want you to know to support different initiatives that both she and Baba Baruti are involved with. And this is our second slide. Yes. So to go to Akoben Institute, there's a course. Could you tell us more about the course? That's interesting.
Yes, so I taught this some number of years ago, but it's on African womanhood. It's a
Mhm.
4 lecture course. The first lecture is African womanhood generally, and that's where I'm using talking about Mama Marimba and Mama Clenora's. Uh, Second one, I think, is sisterhood. The importance of our sisters cannot be underestimated. The importance of having complementary relationships, a major aspect of African womanhood. And the last one is motherhood. So that one of our roles as African women, and whether we're blessed to actually birth children or not, African women are mothers. So, but that's the 4th lecture. So it's available on DVD, but it also can be streamed on demand. So that's something that's kind of new. I think we started last year, where the lectures and DVD courses that we sell are also they can be streamed, because I know a lot of younger people don't have DVD players anymore. But so this is our website for the books and DVDs that we sell.
Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. And also, you have a summer school program going on as well. This is a summer
One
school
on summer
online program.
school.
Nice.
Yes. So it's online. That means, where you live is doesn't prevent you, from your child attending. So for me, I'm have one-on-one sessions for the month of June and July, but Baba doesn't have any classes in June, but he's doing his regular
Okay, I think Mama Yaa's connection is a little shaky. I'm going to until she comes back. So Akoben Institute, is hosting a summer school program, which is virtual, so online, doesn't matter where you live, as long as you have internet. June through July of this year for third to 12th graders, right? Also, she has Mama Yaa is offering one-on-one individual sessions, Mondays through Fridays, 9 to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And during this summer school program, they'll be teaching the what you see: language arts, elementary through high school, math, elementary through pre-algebra, and African studies, elementary through high school. Let me just check to see if Mama Yaa is back. I don't really see. Hold on. There she is. Okay. There she is. Hold on, family. All right. Mama Yaa, are you there? Okay, I think it may still be trouble. I see her in the studio, but I don't think her video is working at this moment. But just to make sure we all have the information, we're gonna keep this slide. I want you to, if you need to take notes, or come back and watch the video again. They have slots available in 1 hour time periods. You have the minimum 1 hour sessions, and you can do multi-hour sessions if you want, but you have to schedule it in advance.
Not sure
And
if
the way,
anyone can
oh, there
hear
you
me,
go.
but if
Okay.
you can,
Yes, I can hear. I couldn't hear you before, Mama Yaa. What were you saying?
and I definitely want to say a
Mama Yaa, you
BB
there?
Fahodier, which means literally
Right. If Mama Yaa, if you're talking, I can't hear you, and I cannot. Oh, let's
okay.
try it now. Okay, I
Okay.
see you now. All right.
So, okay. I wanted to say, Baba, Asante Sana to you. Thank you so much, not only for this honor and opportunity to talk about my work, but your ongoing, since we first met you and Mama Brenda. So, you guys have definitely been shown nothing but love and support over these years. We give thanks. And I want to thank everyone who attended today. And I want to thank people who will watch the recording who, were unable to attend today. And I wanted to say a Bibi Fahodie, which literally means African liberation, but our meaning is liberation and sovereignty, because liberation means different things. You can be physically liberated, but you're not mentally. But if you're not sovereign, if you don't have sovereignty, it doesn't mean much, because you're not in control of your destiny. So a Bibi
That's right.
Fahodie, we say African liberation and sovereignty.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that, Mama Yaa, for all you do, for making yourself available. I can't tell you how many times, especially when I was a young undergrad in college, and I was the head of our Black Student Union, we bring people, famous celebrities, Black people, to speak. And I would ask them at the end of the speech, "Could you be my?" We didn't have the word "jegna" yet. I wasn't familiar, so I said, "Could you mentor me? I would like to. Could you help teach me that?" And man, I can't tell you how many times people say, "I don't have time for that." And maybe they didn't. But then there were a few people who always extended themselves. So sure, gave me a number and stay in touch. And I'm so indebted to people like that when I was much younger. and to people like yourself and Baba Baruti, who make yourselves
Mhm.
available, whether it's on phone or coming through broadcasts like this. That's very important. So we appreciate all you do in all the different capacities that you both do it. We really do. And of course, as long as you're willing, you always have a home here. You know, if you need to announce anything, tell people about any initiative, you always can come through here. So that's, I want you to always know that you and Baba always welcome. And I'm just checking to see if anyone. No other questions. I do have. Oh, you and I ready. I think that's Brother Ra. Peace to Brother Ra. I'm put on the bottom, Brother Ra. You'll see the website to get their books. Okay, that's akobenhouse.com, I believe. All right. Um, we have Dr.
Yes.
Haru in the building, giving you the greetings, Mama Yaa. Dr.
And it
Haru.
is it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
That's
Oh,
right. That's
greetings,
right.
Dr. Haru. Madupe to you for attending. Give thanks.
Yeah. So just as we close out, we want to thank
Uncle
everybody
Johnson.
for your support. And if you came on late, no problem. People got things to do. Family, when you have time, go back see the recorded version from the beginning. We covered a lot of terrain here. And we got a lot of insight into Mama Yaa, some of the people and experiences that shaped her positions on different things. Very interesting interview, very informative and inspiring. Well, family, we are going to go. We want to thank Mama Yaa again. Give our greetings to Baba Baruti. Family, thank you for listening in.
Absolutely,
Please
Baba.
don't fall victim to the white man, family. He should not be the center of our discussions. He should not be the center of our organizing. We should consider him and what he does, but he should not be the center of what we do. And we should not walk in fear. We should not second and third and fourth guess ourselves. We should study, organize, listen to the elders. And Mama Yaa said it best: learn to critically think, because sometimes what comes up in life ain't on your script. And if you're going by a script, but you don't know how to think, you're going to be stuck. So we have to learn how to critically think. Go to Akoben House, get those books, check out those DVDs, stream those lectures, go on YouTube. Support those who fight and support us, family. It's just common sense. So with that said, we want to say Black Power, Kusu, Abibia, Fahudie. Thank you, Mama Yaa. And again, if you have anything you need to announce, let us know. We can make a
Thank you,
special
Baba.
broadcast just to announce things, okay?
Give thanks, Baba. We certainly appreciate it.
No doubt, no doubt. And with that said, family, love on your people, and we'll see you next time. We have a lot. We have Dr. Cherie Warren coming on. She's the former principal of the school that I helped to start 25 years ago. She's coming on. She's doing big
Oh,
things as she prepares for retirement. A lot. And then we got Brother Kill Parker's coming on Tuesday. He wants us to normalize math
okay. The
proficiency.
math guy.
Yeah, he's really something. I really like how he takes the history and he infuses it with the math. Really, really, really innovative how he teaches the math. So come through and check him out on Tuesday. Go to Facebook or here on YouTube and you'll see the different things we have lined up, family. All right. With that said, Kusu, peace of Black Power, free the land. We can do whatever we choose to do, family. Our power of choice is incredibly
Peace and
strong.
Black Power.
I don't care what the white man doing. Well, when we decide to do something, that's what's going to matter. When we make a choice and stand by it. Peace and Black Power, family. See y'all next time. Don't forget to subscribe.
Peace and Black Power. Give thanks.